Welcome, and thanks for listening to my little reflection on good and evil. And I think that is a necessary topic for these times that we're living through. When I was in divinity school to become a Unitarian Universalist minister, because I so believed in the principles and continue to do so of inclusivity, moral action, social activism, knowing that we are completely interdependent on one another and the world, and that through universalism, that at the bottom or at the ground of all of our experience is tremendous love. So when I was in divinity school, I was looking for a theology that I could stand on to fund my ministry, my actions in the world, how I perceived myself in the world, and what there was for us humans to do. And that's when I fell in love. Not with a person. I was then and continue to be happily married to my husband of 45 years. But I fell in love with process theology, or process theology if you're not Canadian, which I am not. I was hungry for a theology that understood that the creation is an ongoing evolutionary action between the human and the divine. And what I found in process theology is a theology that posits that good is real and so is evil real. And that we as humans are crucial in the balance or in the establishment and the ongoing support of the creation of the good, that which benefits all beings at all times without exception, and evil is anything that obstructs that. And that only the creative aspect, co-creating with the numinous, with the ground of being, is what compels us forward into the world. Because I'm so reminded of Desjardins' talk when he said that we are spirit moving slowly enough in matter to be seen. We are crucial in the creation and the co-creation of the world. When we see each other through the eyes of the good, when we see each other through the eyes of the holy, of the numinous, of God, of unity, whatever you want to call it, then we are supporting the good. When we fail to do so, when we see the other through the prism of difference, of hate, of separation, of duality, then we fall into the blind allegiance to a state, to a dogma, to a religion that serves its own ends, its own greed, thus destroying the good, which is what severs the relationship between the human and the divine. And in the Jewish tradition, that is known as a sin. The other thing is, without knowing that we co-create with God, with divinity, without us, God, divinity, the numinous, no longer exists. It's much like Jung talked about the creative and the collective unconscious, rather, that without human consciousness, unconsciousness remains unconscious of itself. Kind of what Job came to tell God is, hey, wake up and be a moral being, please. When that relationship is severed, there is no God without humanity and no humanity without God. What that means is humanity in both senses. Humanity as human beings, and humanity is the ability to love with, to empathize with the other, regardless of whether we understand, approve, whatever, simply because we're all human beings. It is the ability to be compassion, to recognize the sacredness of life itself. So you can see where this is going, as much of our world is really becoming more and more inhumane, seeing demons in fellow human beings, degrading women, men, children into animals, putting them in cages, destroying whole-scale communities based on religion, based on difference, based on otherness, ripping apart our inalienable inalienable from birth. You cannot get rid of our right to love, not determined by genitalia, not determined by anything, but the love that we see through our eyes and are seen with. W.H. Auden wrote a poem called September 1st, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland, and this is what he said at the end of his poem. There is no such thing as the state, and no one exists alone. Hunger allows no choice to the citizen or the police. We must love one another or die. How are we going to remain humane and human in an inhumane world, experiencing terror, violence, greed, hate, destruction? Is it possible to hope, to live fully, to live more freely? And I'm not talking about false hope, denial, repression, all of those coping skills and mechanisms we use to keep the terror at bay. I'm not talking about fairy dust, everything's going to be beautiful if we just do this, Y, Z, X, whatever. But I'm speaking much more radically to the root of what we must do. And what we must do is we must be broken. We must be broken out of our littleness, our identification with one race, one group, one creed, one ideology, one way to express sexuality. We must be broken out of our narrow self-interest and commit fully to co-creating the world. As my well-loved process theologian Henry Nelson Wyman wrote in the book, The Source of Human Good, he says, we must be broken open because above us, above the breakdown and the ruin of plans and persons and ages and nations, there is a beating of great wings. And I added for myself, there is the beating of great wings of love. So let us break our hearts open to the world. Let us be broken out of our own little constricting places. Let us be broken open to the beating of the great wings of love that can guide our actions in the outer world and can guide our actions in the inner world. This is radical co-creation. Thank you for listening.